From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana Siddiqui. In a landmark move, the Internal Revenue Service, or IRS, says imams, pastors, and rabbis may now endorse candidates from the pulpit without jeopardizing their tax-exempt status. The policy change reverses a ban on endorsing or opposing candidates by religious organizations that was enacted in the 1950s. The IRS made the change while settling a lawsuit brought by two churches and a Christian broadcasting network in Texas. Protests erupted outside the White House as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met President Donald Trump. Hundreds of demonstrators waved Palestinian flags and demanded a ceasefire in Gaza. They condemned Israel's genocide and military actions and called for an end to the attacks. Inside the White House, Netanyahu presented a letter nominating Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. This marks Netanyahu's third visit to the U.S. in 6 months. He also held talks with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he is not worried about being arrested by New York City's potential future mayor, Zohran Mamdani. Mamdani, the Democratic Party's nominee for New York City mayor, made headlines in December when he said, as mayor, New York City would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. He was referring to the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant against the Israeli leader over alleged war crimes. Speaking to reporters on Monday during a dinner meeting with President Donald Trump at the White House, Netanyahu said, "I am going to come to New York with President Trump, and we will see." Trump, seated beside him, responded, "I'll get him out." The United States has officially removed Syria's Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS, formerly known as al-Nusra Front, from its list of foreign terrorist organizations. The decision, announced by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, takes effect Tuesday. He said it reflects the group's reported dissolution and Syria's new commitment to fight terrorism. HTS had been listed as a terrorist organization since 2018 due to its links to al-Qaeda. Rubio said the revocation aligns with the June 30th executive order aimed at revoking Syria-related sanctions and encouraging regional reintegration. The move comes just days after President Donald Trump lifted long-standing U.S. sanctions on Syria. It also follows a landmark meeting between Trump and Syria's new president, Ahmed al-Shara, in Saudi Arabia's capital, Riyadh, last month. Bashar al-Assad, who ruled Syria for nearly 25 years, fled to Russia in December 2024, ending his Ba'ath Party's decades-long grip on power. Leading U.S. medical groups have filed a lawsuit against Health Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr., accusing him of unlawfully reversing COVID-19 vaccine guidance. The lawsuit, filed in Massachusetts, includes the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Infectious Diseases Society of America, and others. They say Kennedy's decisions endanger children and pregnant women by bypassing scientific review and federal procedures. The plaintiffs claim Kennedy, a known vaccine critic, is threatening the future of vaccinations in America. Since his appointment by President Donald Trump, Kennedy has slashed funding for childhood vaccine programs and dismantled the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's expert vaccine panel. The groups are urging parents to trust licensed medical professionals, not political appointees. Kennedy has not yet responded to the lawsuit. A man disrupted morning prayers at a mosque in Maryland. He allegedly drove recklessly onto the Islamic Community Center of Laurel's property. Witnesses say he entered the mosque during Fajr prayers and shouted threats. The man reportedly said he would get his piece to take revenge, a possible reference to a weapon. No injuries were reported. The incident has alarmed the local Muslim community. It comes just days after 3 mosques were vandalized in Austin, Texas. Authorities are investigating the incident as a potential hate crime. As Mahmoud Mamdani gains ground in New York City politics, Hindutva groups ramp up attacks over his faith. Details are coming up next. Zohran Mamdani's rise in New York City's politics has sparked backlash from Hindutva and Islamophobic groups in the U.S. If elected in November, Mamdani would be the city's first Indian-origin Muslim mayor. But Hindu extremists have joined hands with far-right groups targeting Mamdani over his faith. One member of parliament from India's ruling Hindu nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party accused him of having an anti-India agenda and wanting to wipe out Hinduism. Within the U.S., the New Jersey-based group Indian Americans for Como paid over $3,500 for a plane to fly a banner over New York City that said, "Save NYC from global intifada, reject Mamdani." Experts say the hate is not just about Mamdani. Kayla Bassett of the Center for the Study of Organized Hate says it is a broader attack on the Muslim community. Despite the threats, Mamdani remains a strong contender in the race. 7 Nobel Prize-winning economists are calling for a 2% global wealth tax on the world's richest. They believe taxing 3,000 billionaires could raise $250 billion a year. In an op-ed published in Le Monde, economists Darren Acemoglu, Esther Duflo, and Joseph Stiglitz said billionaires pay almost nothing in taxes, with some contributing as little as 0.1% of their wealth in countries like France. They argue that income taxes alone no longer ensure fairness, and that ultra-wealthy people use loopholes and structures to avoid taxes. The economists say a direct wealth tax would target those avoiding income tax. France's National Assembly backed a similar 2% tax earlier this year, but the Senate blocked it. The economists urged France to lead the way, warning that extreme wealth is growing while public deficits balloon. They say now is the time for bold tax justice. An imam from the Netherlands has been suspended after singing Israel's national anthem in Arabic during a controversial visit to Jerusalem. Imam Yusuf Masbeh from the Bilal Mosque in the city Al-Qmar was part of a group of 15 Muslim leaders visiting Israel. The delegation included imams from France, the UK, Italy, and the Netherlands. Their week-long trip was organized by the pro-Israeli group Elnet. In a widely circulated video, Masbeh sang the Israeli anthem Hatikva in Arabic while greeting President Isaac Herzog. He also encouraged others to sing and dance, calling it a moment of unity. Backlash followed swiftly. Bilal Mosque suspended Masbeh immediately, saying it no longer has any relationship with him. The group has drawn criticism for not visiting Palestinian territories or meeting local communities. Many compared it to a similar controversial U.S. Muslim leaders trip organized by the group Engage. Iran is speeding up the deportation of undocumented Afghans ahead of a Sunday deadline set by the government. More than 250,000, including many unaccompanied women, have returned in the past month alone. These previously had targeted mainly men, primarily undocumented laborers. However, officials in Afghanistan say women are also now being forced out. Between March and May, Iran deported at least 100 women through a single southern border point. Those arriving in the Afghan province of Nimroz say they walked hours in extreme heat, arriving dehydrated, hungry, and without belongings or shelter plans. Israel killed at least 67 Palestinians and wounded 262 in airstrikes on Gaza since early Tuesday morning, according to medical sources. 42 of the dead were from central and southern Gaza. Israeli attacks hit homes, hospitals, and tents sheltering displaced people. 2 were killed in Al-Tufah, 1 in Al-Zaweda, and several others in Deir al-Balah and Khan Yunis. A strike on a school in Bureish refugee camp caused panic among families. In Khan Yunis, 4 family members were killed in an Israeli strike on a tent in Al-Mawasi. 3 others were killed outside Nasser Hospital. Hamas fighters killed 5 Israeli soldiers in an ambush in Beit Hanun. Meanwhile, Israeli forces demolished a building with apartments and shops in East Jerusalem. Far-right Israeli ministers have called for halting aid to Gaza and ending ceasefire talks. In the Red Sea, Yemen's Houthis struck another ship, killing 2 crew members aboard the Greek-operated Eternity Sea. Israel's genocide in Gaza has killed more than 64,000 Palestinians, the majority of them women, children, and the elderly, according to a major study published in the British medical journal The Lancet in January. According to Gaza's health ministry, more than 136,000 people have been wounded. The International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant on charges of war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. As well, the International Court of Justice has accused Israel of genocide in the region. The European Commission says it has no evidence that Hamas is stealing humanitarian aid in Gaza. EU spokesperson Eva Haransirova said the situation is catastrophic and stressed the bloc's aid is delivered through neutral and independent channels. She reaffirmed the EU does not work with the controversial Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, an Israeli-backed, US-supported mechanism accused of politicizing aid. Israeli forces have killed 766 Palestinians and injured 5,044 others who are seeking aid. The Commission has urged Israel to allow access to established humanitarian agencies. More than 170 organizations, including UNRWA and Amnesty International, have condemned the foundation, citing deaths of Palestinians near its aid sites. They demand a return to UN-led efforts. Bahrain has become the first country in the six-member Gulf Cooperation Council, or GCC, to include Islamic finance in crypto rules. The country has introduced new regulations for the digital currency known as stablecoins. The Central Bank of Bahrain will now license fiat-backed digital tokens in Bahraini dinars, US dollars, or other currencies, with an emphasis on Sharia compliance. The rules will require independent Sharia advisors and follow requirements set by the Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions, as well as international financial reporting standards. Experts say this digital currency will attract faith-based and ethical investors. They also note it could boost cross-border crypto activity in the region and that strong enforcement and cybersecurity will be key. Fitch Ratings praised the move. Scientists in Australia have reversed Parkinson's symptoms in mice using a special copper treatment. The team from the University of Sydney found mice treated with a copper supplement targeting a malfunctioning protein that damages brain cells showed major improvements in movement. Researchers say the results were astonishing. Mice given only a placebo got worse, but those treated for 3 months did not develop symptoms. The findings were published in Acta Neuropathologica Communications and partly funded by the Michael J. Fox Foundation. Parkinson's is a degenerative brain disorder with no current cure, causing tremors and stiffness. Researchers hope targeting faulty proteins may slow the disease's progression in people. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. Donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.